Okay, yeah, the Dallas Cowboys record prediction. So Cowboys didn't really get better in the offseason. They did lose Cooper and a couple like Gregory on defense, but I still like their team overall. They have good wide receivers in Lamb, Dak Prescott, good offensive line. And then Michael Parsons and Diggs, so pretty good defense. So let's start. First you got the first game versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So that's gonna be a good game. And Tampa Bay is definitely a good team with Tom Brady coming back, and they still have a good defense, but I think Tampa Bay lost too many pieces during the offseason. In the first game, I think the Dallas Cowboys will have the more like chemistry within their team. So I'm gonna take the Cowboys first. Then you have them versus the Bengals. Bengals are another good team. They have three very good wide receivers, Joe Burrow, but I think the offensive line still needs work, especially early on in the season. I think Michael Parsons can take advantage in the Dallas defense, and I think the Dallas's offense can do well against the Bengals defense and with home field advantage. So I'm gonna take the Cowboys. Then you have them versus the Giants. Giants are still rebuilding. They have Daniel Jones, and they do not do well against the Cowboys. And their defense isn't that good. I have the Cowboys winning. Then you have another divisional opponent, the football team. Football team, they just don't do well against the Cowboys. Football team, Carson Wentz is just okay, and Washington doesn't have a lot of weapons or good offensive line. They have a potentially good defensive line or good defense, but hopefully they can bounce back. I still see Cowboys winning. Then you have them versus the Rams. Rams definitely a good team. They have Aaron Donald, bunch of defensive talent, and Matthew Stafford. They have very good offensive talent. I think Rams are more talented than the Cowboys in every way possible, and they have home field advantage. I'm gonna give it to the Rams. Then you have them versus the Eagles. Eagles are definitely a good team. I think they're more one of the dark horses. This team, the Eagles, they have as long as Hurts develops, they have good wide receivers: AJ Brown, Devontae Smith. Slightly worried about their offensive line, but they have a great defensive line with a bunch of stars on them and a good defense after they signed Bradbury. I just think the first game, I think the Cowboys and Eagles are going to split, and I'm going to give it to the Cowboys in the first game. Then you have them versus Detroit. There's definitely a trap game. Detroit's coming off a bye, and Detroit definitely has enough talent to upset the Cowboys. They still have Jared Goff, but they're getting better through the draft. And I think at this point in week 7, their draft picks will start having an impact. And this just feels like one of those games Dallas loses and then starts a losing streak. It just feels like one of those trap games. So I'm going to take the Lions. Then you have them versus the Bears. Bears is just not a good team right now. They didn't do anything to help Justin Fields, and their defense got weaker by trading Mack, and they don't have a lot of talent right now. I do think this game is going to be a lot closer than people think, just because I think the Cowboys are going to enter a slump, but they're still going to win. So I'll take the Cowboys. Then you have them versus the Packers. The Cowboys are coming off a bye. I don't think that will mean too much, other than less home field advantage for the Packers. Packers, they still have Aaron Rodgers, and their wide receivers aren't terrible. Their offensive line is still good, but I think their defense will shut down the Cowboys' explosive offense. I think Packers' defense, like I said multiple times, are underrated. I'll take the Packers. Then you have them versus the Vikings. Vikings are a good team. They have talent. They have Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, Dalvin Cook. It definitely cause problems for the Cowboys. And their defense isn't terrible, but I think that Cowboys offense can do well against the Minnesota defense. And after coming off that loss against the Packers, I'm gonna have the Cowboys bouncing back and beating the Vikings. Then you have them versus the Giants. Giants, like I said, rebuilding. Definitely another trap game, divisional game. They could potentially squeak out a win. I don't see that coming, especially on a Thursday nighter, where Giants have to travel from from New Jersey to Dallas. So I'm gonna take the Cowboys. Then you have them versus the Colts. Colts are definitely a good team. I feel like Jonathan Taylor will cause problems for them. and I think this is going to be a good underrated game as well. Um, this one's just going to be a close matchup. This is Matt Ryan versus Dak Prescott, and I'll take the young gun over Matt Ryan to take the Cowboys. Then you have the Houston Texans, another trap game, and Texans. I just don't think they're talented enough to beat the Cowboys, but I think it's going to be closer. It's going to be closer, so I'm going to take the Cowboys. Then you have them versus the Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence. I think Cowboys defense is going to cause problem. I don't think the Jaguars offense is good enough to carry the team or do anything. Their defense. So I'm going to take the Cowboys. Then you have them versus the Eagles. Eagles. Like I said, I don't think the Cowboys are good enough to sweep the Eagles. And I had the Cowboys winning earlier. And I think the Eagles are gonna split with them, so I'm gonna take the Eagles. Then you have them versus the Titans on the Thursday nighter. I think Titans will have a huge home field advantage being a Thursday nighter, and with Derrick Henry and hopefully still healthy, I think that will cause problem for the Dallas defense. And Titans defense is not bad and might slow down the Cowboys offense just enough for the Titans to get a win. Then you have them versus the football team. I think this one could be a meaningful game for the Cowboys with the Eagles on their tail. And the football team, they're just not that good right now. I think they have a mediocre offense, and their defense potentially can be good, but I think the Cowboys can get on that. I'm going to take the Cowboys. So I have the Cowboys going 12-5, 5-1 in the division, 7-2 at home, and 5-3 away.